Part 2, Chapter 59, Keating's Interview. It's Friday, and Joe Keating sits in a booth in Section 1, across from Blond Bob, fielding a sequence of interview questions, some he'd originally heard years ago.
Tell me, Joe, how do you reinforce in a non-monetary way a behavior by an employee that you want repeated?
Keating's first thought.
Become a rah-rah fucking cheerleader.
Keating's answer.
Verbal encouragement during the task is very important. It's important that the other employees hear what you are reinforcing too. Saying things like, "Bobby, I like how carefully you are carrying that bus tub," or "Marissimo, you are working much faster than your usual snail pace today," really keeps the employees on task in the way Grand Slams would like to curve their positive work behavior.
Okay, good. Now, how do you build and maintain morale with your staff in a non-monetary way?
Keating's first thought.
Why build morale, as this place will suck the morale right out of you? They respond better with teasing and sarcasm, trying to avoid it, and of course, they respond to money. What the fuck is all this non-monetary way language?
Keating's answer.
Encourage them to spend time with each other outside of work. For example, recently some of the staff went on a kayak trip together. It was a load of fun that didn't involve money.
How do you demonstrate that you value people for who they are rather than for what they accomplish?
Keating's first thought.
You kiss their ass, give them your drugs, and pretend you're into what they're into.
Keating's answer.
Getting to know the employees for who they are and taking a real interest in the things that are important to them in their lives is important. Quit saying important. For example, we have a lot of college students working here, so talking about their studies and where they think they will land at a job is important. We also have people like Maura, who has been here for over 20 years. And for people like her, it's important you build up the fact that they are loyal to the company and that they have no outside life. This is the Grand Slam's way.
What are the primary management styles? Describe each. Which is your predominant style?
Keating's first thought.
Iron Fist, my way or the highway. Do you remember yesterday's training video? I'm about to nail this.
Keating's answer.
Well, there's the autocratic management style, where the manager makes decisions without much regard to subordinates. As a result, decisions will reflect the opinions and personality of the manager, which in turn can project an image of a confident, well-managed business, even if the subordinates feel powerless. The second is a democratic style, where the manager allows the employees to take part in the decision-making. Therefore, everything is agreed upon by a majority vote. That's a good style if you want to go out of business. Lastly, the Grand Slam's preferred method is the consultative form, which is also essentially management ruled. However, decisions do take into account the best interest of the employees as well as the business. Communication is again generally downward, but feedback to the management is encouraged to maintain morale, as employees feel they have a say, even if they don't. As far as my style, I'd say it's autocratic, but if I want the employees to falsely feel that they are part of the process, I can pretend it's consultative, which is what you and Bob Boulay practice.
What successes and shortcomings have you experienced with your management style?
Keating's first thought.
I've had success with being the all-powerful, but because of that, people hate me.
Keating's answer.
I would say success-wise, this Grand Slams will live and die with my decisions. But the numbers we have here, in pure economic terms, make my work here successful. The shortcomings are that I become the fall guy and the scapegoat. I think what happened recently, my suspension and retraining, was an example of that. Perhaps this time around, I'll do it the Grand Slams way.
Describe a challenging situation and the method you use to meet the challenge.
Keating's first thought.
When Jimmy was arrested, I had to go directly to the convoy to score.
Keating's answer.
When the staff gets busy and behind on their work, stepping into their job to help out, trying to meet the goals of employees, and also maintaining the goal of customer satisfaction. On the employee end, like what I watched yesterday, the feeling that we're all in this together is a good motivator. On the customer end, they see the main man, me, the guy in the suit, who was humble enough to give great service in the face of less capable employees.
Describe an assignment that you were given that you knew would be unpopular, but you completed successfully.
Keating's first thought.
This week's fucking training.
Keating's answer.
I complete a lot of unpopular tasks successfully. Nearly everything here is unpopular to some or all of the employees, and certainly unpopular for me. Increasing the ice cream menu and training the wait staff to make the desserts affected their timing and their tips. But I told them that they didn't have a choice, and they needed to suck it up. Turned out that the new ice cream desserts were a big hit.
Describe a situation when you went above and beyond to complete a task you were proud of.
Keating's first thought.
Getting into Sugar's pants.
Keating's answer.
Helping out with the delivery truck is something that most managers do not do. What usually happens is the extra employees are called in from home for a few hours to complete that task, which brings up payroll numbers. For me, it means working more than my usual hours so that we, as a company, have less outward cash flow. Cash flow is very important in helping us move in the right direction. Certainly, it shouldn't be used on the delivery truck. Not if I can help it. I can save money that way. Plus, establishing a positive relationship with the driver makes it a great big happy world at Grand Slams.
When they're finished, Joe Keating thinks he has nailed it. His answers had just enough swagger and confidence, mixed in with the company ideals. Keating cannot wait to regain his position, so that the first thing he can do is make up something horrible Kenny did on the job and fire his ass. Blond Bob takes the answers to the written test back to the office and scores them, leaving Keating at the table. Then he fills out an impression sheet based on the interview to fax to the corporate office after he speaks to dyed-haired Bob. Kayak Kenny walks into Section 1 to grab the dirty plates from lunch, which have been left on the table behind Keating for over an hour. Keating has an urge to trip him, even imagines the sound of all the dishes shattering. Instead, he looks away, but only until Kenny opens his mouth. "I didn't snitch," Kenny says, "and I still work here."
You're the only one that could have made the call.
Kenny's voice grows suddenly loud. "I didn't make any call." Keating needs to quiet him down quickly, otherwise his entire week of being an exemplary corporate man will be tossed out the window.
Hey, Kenny, let me give you some work advice.
"I don't want to hear it."
Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. If you want to get that replacement kayak bought and launched before a few summers have passed, don't fuck with the management, because no job means no money, which means no kayak.
Keating warns as a flash of lightning from the storm illuminates Kenny's face like a Frankenstein monster in an old-time horror movie. "It's raining anyway," Kenny says. "So there." Blond Bob and dyed-haired Bob Boulay are wobbling and walking through the back swinging doors to rejoin Keating. Kenny sees them coming, worries that something bad might happen, and scurries away like a rat grabbing a piece of moldy bread and burrowing back into his rat hole home.